All right, good evening. We'd like to welcome everyone to the second installment of the District Advisory Committee. Tonight, we are going to have a presentation from Assistant Superintendent Sharp focused on the local control accountability plan and its data dashboard as it interwinds itself to our infographic and an overview. So we'll turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Sharp.
All right, thank you for having me. So yes, we're going to go over our data dashboard that is located on our district webpage. For the public who wants to review this information, they can go to the LUSD webpage, click on About LUSD, Data Dashboard Infographic, and it will take you directly to the data dashboard. What I'm going to be sharing with you tonight is the 2025 dashboard, which was shared at a board meeting in December. It has been updated on the website. However, this example right now is showing a previous dashboard. So for anyone who wants information on each of the metrics, there's a black dot next to each metric. You can click on that. It will take you to a screen that if there's not enough information or it's not large enough, you can click on this following arrow. It'll take you to a larger screen to explain each of those metrics. So looking at goal 1 first, we have a specific area that's focused on pupil achievement for students in 9th through 12th grades. You can see here there's a yellow arrow on the top left related to LTELs, that's long-term English learners. I'm flagging that because this is the first year we were required to report on that by the state, so this would not be on previous data dashboards. So looking at AP pass rate, I'm going to spend a little bit of time here because this one has it's more data heavy and it's different than any other data point. When we look at this 82 here, it is representing 82% of the AP tests, not students, but the AP tests that were taken that earned a 3 or higher. And then 37% of the total students enrolled at Mountain House High School, of the total students enrolled, 37% are in AP courses. And then again, this is different. So this is not students. Of the AP tests taken, this is the percent of scores that received a 3 or higher. So some of the students in AP courses, many of the students in AP courses would receive more than one score. They'd have more than one test. So if we look at each of the subgroups here, of our Black African American students, 65% of their scores were a 3 or higher. Then if we look to the right of that, we're looking at percent enrolled. Of our total enrollment of each of these subgroups, of the Black subgroup in Mountain House High School, 10% of them are enrolled in AP classes. So I'm going to give a basic example. If we had 100 Black African American students at the high school, 10% of those students would be in AP classes, which would be 10 students. Those are fake numbers. Just wanted to make something that was easy for me to do off the top of my head. Sorry, here. So below that, you see the green. 69% of our students demonstrate A to G readiness. Those are only students in 12th grade. Over to the right, the 15% of our students received at least 1 D or F. And then below, 81% of our students have a GPA of 3 or higher. The next part of the infographic addresses pupil achievement in grades kindergarten through 12th grade, starting with CASP assessments. So 76% of our students demonstrated proficiency in ELA, 72% demonstrated proficiency in math. Down below, 66% of our 5th, 8th, and 11th graders demonstrated proficiency in CAST. They are the only students who take that assessment. And in the top right corner, NWA MAP. This is a benchmark assessment to see student progress towards potential CASP proficiency. It's given 3 times a year. This metric for our dashboard evaluates the spring assessment. 71% of our students demonstrated proficiency in ELA and 72% demonstrated proficiency in math. And then the last metric on this page is for kindergarten through 2nd grade students. And it is a reading foundational skills test demonstrating that shows that 78% of our students demonstrate proficiency towards grade level reading. So the next part of Goal 1 addresses state standards, and we evaluate that in Lammersville by professional learning opportunities, our LPAC assessment for English learners, and our curriculum. In professional learning, we had 22 teachers take part in blended learning, 39 teachers in the New Hire Academy, 352 teachers took part in impact teams training, 18 teachers Summer Reading Academy, and 89 teachers took part in walking and talking. For the English language proficiency exam, we had 748 students take the assessment, and 71% of those students scored in the top 2 levels. And then for our curriculum, we evaluate that curriculum based on alignment to standards, with 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest, and we are rated 5 in all areas. Goal 1 is at the bottom of Goal 1 shows enrollment by ethnicity by grade span. So you can see our enrollment by ethnicity by TK8, and then by the high school 9th through 12th grades. So the next part of our dashboard is Goal 2 and Goal 3. They are side by side. Goal 2 being instruction and curriculum efficacy, starting with basic conditions. So 100% of our students have standard aligned instructional materials. 74% of our teachers have gone through a full teaching program. However, 99.9% of our teachers have been given authorization to teach as being qualified to teach in a classroom by the state. And then 100% of our facilities are in good repair. Looking at parental involvement, we have very strong parental involvement. It continues to grow. You can see from 23 to 24 to 24-25, we've grown to 1,190 parent volunteers. 93% of our parents believe LUSD schools prepare students academically, and 92% of our parents believe LUSD encourages partnerships. Our school climate shows overtime, suspension rate, and expulsion rate. It's a 3-year span. These are overall ratings, and you can see below it gives subgroup suspension rates for the school year. At the bottom of Goal 2, it shows enrollment by student group. Goal 1 showed enrollment by ethnicity, and then this is by our subgroups. Again, grade span K8 and then 9-12. Goal 3, 21st century outcomes and stakeholder communication, addresses attendance rate, chronic absenteeism, graduation rate, and dropout rate. So if you see over in attendance rate and chronic absenteeism, you see a down arrow, an up arrow, and a dash. The dash is no change, or there was no data in the previous year in the example of LTELs. So there was no data in the prior year for that group. And then the down arrow shows a decrease, the up arrow shows an increase. Course access addresses opportunities outside of the standard math, English, social studies, science. So we have CTE pathways. 76% of our students are enrolled in those pathways. Advanced placement, 37% of our students are enrolled in AP courses. And then early college, you can see by year. So 46 sophomores, 41 juniors, and 30 seniors are enrolled in that program. Goal 3 ends with other pupil outcomes, so other assessments our students take, which are the ACT, SAT, and PSAT. ACT is not as widely used in California as in other states. However, the students who are taking that at Mountain House High School, you can see, are still outperforming California in ELA and math. SAT is where more students are taking this course, and again, you can see that Mountain House High School is outperforming the state in English and math. And then the PSAT, while it is offered for students freshman, sophomore, and junior, we offer that as our program for all 8th grade students. That's why it is being reported on here, because all 8th graders are given the opportunity to take that during the school day. And you can see our 8th graders also outperforming California in reading and math. So that ends the overview. If anyone wishes to dive in deeper to that data, they can do so by going to the website that was shown at the beginning. Any questions?
Thank you. I love those numbers. They're great numbers. On Goal 1, I have a question about the MAP scores, the spring MAP scores. Mm-hmm. Does that capture, so is that for all grades, including the high school?
Yes.
So does that capture those kids in the high school that reach a certain threshold in the fall and then don't have to take the spring ones because they've already mastered that?
Right. So it's only the students who are taking it in the spring.
Okay. So we actually have more students that have reached whatever threshold they need than what we're capturing right here.
We would.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is looking at that benchmark is where the students are at the end of the year to show that progress toward CASP.
Okay. And then I just have one more question about the SATs. Have you heard that some of the UCs are starting to consider bringing back the SAT as criteria for applications? There are some rumors.
I
or
have
some
not, but I'm
discussion.
seeing yes that Dr. Nicholas has heard that.
Okay.
The pendulum normally swings a little slower, but I think there's been a kind of a reactive mode for a short period of time, but that was one of the impacts. And it seems like the admissions were offices of prestigious universities realized they didn't have a lot of criterion. So they're looking at bringing that back. Maybe not in how they weight it, but
Right. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you. Again, I love this information that we have available for our community.
You're welcome.
Go back to that map score page, I guess. So I guess a question and a comment. One is just for everyone, right? This only captures some of our subgroups. Does it reflect the entire population of Mountain House?
It does not. So these are our required, over on the side are our required subgroups. The 71 and 72, yes, those include all students who would have taken it, even if they are not in one of the subgroups to the left of it.
Okay. And then so some of the subgroups are ethnicity and some of them are kind of population type or other demographics, right? Can you explain how we determine which subgroups to report on and how those are determined?
Yes, so we have specific subgroups based on their the difference in their performance versus our overall performance, and if they are showing any kind of evidence of underperforming, the state requires us to report on those subgroups, and these are required subgroups that were required by the state to report on as a part of LCAP.
So it's not that we have to report 7 subgroups. It could be 9 if 9 subgroups met that threshold.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For me, thanks.
all right. Well, that concludes the second installment of the District Advisory Committee. There will be a one last DAC meeting, which will feed a board special meeting, which has something to do with this has to do with the LCAP process. But there'll be one last presentation, then a meeting, which is a hearing for the budget related to the LCAP, and then there'll be a final board approval the same week as a special board meeting to complete the LCAP process. And we're in the second year of a 3-year LCAP systematic rollout. And with that, thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you. Thanks for